I guess it's had to go the long way around in order to get here, so we're not going to be able to do that right now, but let me say that at some point we're going to have to do that. So given that, I'm going to take the public input right now, and I know the minutes of the meeting, of the prior minutes are up for approval, but we're going to still have to wait for his input, so I'm going to change it. I know it's out of order, but please bear with me. Give me a little bit of leeway.
Sure.
I'm not perfect. I'm working.
Let's go back and finish the discussion that we had at the last meeting. This is regarding question 7 of the questions that I submitted in April of 2009 to the chief, which were answered and returned to me in December of 2009. Question 7, just to refresh everyone's memory, read, did you ever in fact unsnap your holster during an argument with an employee? The police department's, or the chief's answer was the HPD cannot specifically respond to questions related to confidential personnel information about current or former Hooksett Police Department employees. And I know we kind of went around about this at the last meeting, and I went back and watched the videotape, and I've come to the conclusion that I think we were both right in this situation. If the question is posed to the chief, as the chief, I understand that he can't divulge that personnel information and he shouldn't. I do find it, however, a bit extreme that after filing a right to know, I can't even be told whether or not an investigation happened. I would think that that wouldn't be divulging any personnel information. I did file a right to know on that and I was denied, which I was rather surprised. I was not denied. I was not surprised that I didn't get details, but the fact of whether it happened or whether it didn't happen. So I'm going to go by what the chief said at the last meeting, that in fact there was an investigation. The reason I feel that I'm right is by asking him that question as an officer, I think he can divulge personnel information about himself. So perhaps that's where the confusion was. These questions were given to him as the chief, as comments that were given to me that things that were being said on my website were inaccurate. And that's how this all started. So I am trying to get to the bottom of whether this is accurate or not. I've looked into this, I've talked to some people, and I've listened to what the chief said. And I'm prepared to make a statement in public, in front of the chief, and if the chief would like to correct me, I would certainly give him the floor to correct me. That statement is that the chief did, in fact, unsnap his holster while in an argument with an employee. Any comment? Thank you.
Laura Willett, 3 Summerfield Street. Apparently at the January 4th Commission meeting, it was decided that a substantial raise would be given to chief, 2 captains, and 1 lieutenant. Is this correct?
I guess the way I would respond to it is, given the fact of what the motion, how it's written, that is partly correct.
Okay. Did those same individuals, the chief, 2 captains, and 1 lieutenant, receive a 2.5% increase July 1st, 2009 as well?
See, I don't have a history, so I can't answer.
According to the commission minutes of June 2009, there was a motion made that was approved for a 2.5% increase for non-union personnel. So I just wondered if that was followed through and they did indeed receive that 2.5% increase. Okay. So just so we're clear, just based on the right to know information that we've received, that equates to a 10% increase in salary for the chief, a 12% increase for one of the captains, 13% increase for another one of the captains, and a 10% increase for one of the lieutenants. So under the guise, I'm assuming under the guise of the non-public meeting, the chief rallied for and received this astronomical raise for himself and some of his fellow command staff. This is at a time where the teachers decided next year they will not take a raise. There's a freeze. That means they won't get a COLA, they won't get a step increase. The budget committee voted no for a 2% increase for all town employees at the town hall. And I asked one of the school admin, are you people getting an increase? And they said, no, we did not ask for an increase. given the fact that the teachers did not take an increase, we couldn't in good conscience take one. So they're not getting an increase. There seems to be a perception that if you have a job and you're getting benefits, you're doing pretty good right now in this economy. And a lot of people are struggling, and I just can't understand how you could even think about doing this. I also have a problem with the fact that the chief over and over says that people are leaving this department for more money. So if they're leaving for more money, and you really truly believe that, I don't, but if you really truly believe that as a true leader, wouldn't you be going to the commission saying, hey, we need equity raises fit for the patrol because they're leaving? This is seriously a problem. If you really and truly believe that, never mind going to get a 10% increase for yourself. How about fighting for the guys that are working for you? I don't see any of that. I don't see leadership here. This really bothers me that in this economy that you would even think about doing this. And I would ask that you rethink it, because I know you're going to get a lot of heat from this, and rightly so. Thank you.
Hi, J.R. Willett, 3 Summerfair Street. I want to express to you my utmost disappointment in this commission. How you can even consider making such a salary adjustment for the chief, 2 captains, and a lieutenant during this tough economic time is beyond comprehension. It is my understanding these individuals had just received a raise in July. The raises in July were part of this budget and went through the budget process. To make salary adjustments without going through the budget process and extracting the wages increases through the funds allocated in the wage line for officers' compensation is again a total disregard for taxpayers and the officers of this department. This is a slap in our faces, especially while the continuation of this mass exodus that has and still is taking place in this department. The continuous turnover is a direct reflection of this administration and is costing the taxpayers thousands and thousands of dollars. No raises should be given to this management of this department until such a time the department can prove to the citizens of this community that management practices have been changed to a more efficient and proactive style of management. The officers and citizens deserve this. I also would like to make a comment, talk about the comment that Lieutenant McDaniel's statement that he made at the last commission meeting about the canines. I've had some communication with 2 of the 3 canine officers that have left this department. Bosco was 7 years old and still in his prime and could have easily worked another 3 or 4 years. Bob was only 6 years old and he too had more productive years left, and he was in perfect health. He also was trained for drug detection, which could have given him even more productive years. Based on the information I received from the canine officers, their dogs could have worked easily an additional 3 to 4 years. This information came directly from the handlers of the dogs and depicts a more accurate reflection on the condition of these dogs. Thank you.
Anyone else questions?
Please.
Yes.
Mark Legal, 42 Main Street. First of all, I want to say that I'm not speaking here as a budget committee member. I'm here as a citizen.
Okay,
I believe
thank you.
anyone who speaks ever speaks first and foremost as a citizen before any other committee they represent, and they have a right to speak. I just wanted, for the sake of transparency here, just to set into the record, if you don't mind, the actual salaries that were approved and the increases that were approved on the January 4th non-public meeting. The chief has now earned an extra $6,843.20 for a total new salary of $105,000, $705.60 for a 7% increase. One captain got an increase of $7,300.80 for a new salary of $88,000, $129.60 for an increase of 9%. Another captain, his new salary is $84,572.80 of an increase of $7,654.40 for an increase of 10%. The lieutenant, new salary is $73,403.20 of an increase of $5,075.20, a 7% increase. I would like that to be reflected in the minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to give us your statement? Is that what you want?
I just want to put that into the record because the minutes of January 4th did not indicate the actual totals, just that pay equity adjustments were made. I just want to put in the totals for that for transparency.
Well, that's assuming that your numbers are correct, okay?
Okay. I received a right to know from the finance director, from Christine Susi.
Okay.
Request, this is my only original, so if you want to copy
No,
that.
I have one, thank you.
Okay. I would ask you if they're accurate then.
Well, I'm not going to get into
Okay.
a debate about that.
Based on the information that I received from the finance director, I submitted a right to know to the commission here. I received a response directing me to go to the finance director, which I did.
Mhm.
And I got a response from Christine, the finance director, this past week.
Okay.
Secondly, I want to, again, these are the questions that I referred to on several occasions now that I've submitted in August. And I want to submit them again. Again, a lot of these questions are almost no longer pertinent anymore. But I would still like answers to these questions, if you don't mind. Okay?
Can we, Mr. Myville,
Yes.
do we not have some letters or something that
This was not a right to know. These are just questions submitted.
are those the same ones that we received? Can I see those? Because everything that I've received, what I have done, and I hope this has your name on it,
Oh, I can put that, sure.
because we did have one that did not have anyone's name on it, but everything that I have
maybe that's why.
received, I get it out of my hot little hands because I could lose it. So I pass it on and make sure that we are either looking into it and finding an answer if we can, or we're doing something with it. And we did have one that we did not have.
Okay, so I can put my name on that then?
Well, it didn't look like this, so it's not the same one.
All right. Some of these questions were based in all the way in August, which at the time, the hot issues were the SRO, and I had some questions about the SRO, and some of them might not be pertinent at all at this point, but
Are you?
but I still want to submit them because in my mind, they're still pertinent, just not as lively an issue right now as it was in August. But for instance, back then, and I don't want to go into any heated discussions here or anything, back then there was a discussion about the SRO officer who was required to create his own job description. So I have a simple question here, is why was he required to create his own job description? Is that not the responsibility of a command staff? Has Sergeant Blanchett been required to submit his own job description?
Oh, okay.
Things like that, all right? So if I'm going to submit this as not a right to know, just, it's been 4 months, but if you can get them to me at the next meeting, that would be nice. Thank you very much.
How many of
That's all
those
good for
are?
now.
How many of these are there?
Actually, the first question talks about the review, and the review's already been done, so. All right, so that's it for now. Any questions on that you want to? Oh, yeah.
Wow. Here.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none? Okay, we'll move on. We need to do the non-public. I apologize, but we were going to do this at the beginning.
Motion to seal the minutes motion to seal what we just discussed in non-public.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion with regard to that? Seeing none, all those in favor of sealing that portion of the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you for being patient. I just want to say that given what the weather is tonight, we're going to try to go through this agenda very quickly because we know it's getting probably pretty bad out there. So I would ask that we table the minutes, the approval of the minutes. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to table those minutes until the next meeting, and we'll deal with those then.
So moved.
Second, okay. All those in favor of tabling the minutes as listed on the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, those have been tabled. The next, we have both the town budget report and the police budget report. So I believe those are in your packet. I don't know if anybody has anything. If you had the opportunity to look at them.
If I can, the budget report you have from the town and from the department represent week 31 out of 52 was 59.62% into the year, and at that point the PD was 50.39% funded.
I thank Francine for putting in that support because we were missing it last time. Okay.
Any questions on the?
No, I'll tell you the truth, I really didn't have any.
You didn't have much time.
Well, I had some on some of these vendors, but I didn't know who they are, so I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Okay? The police budget report,
So,
same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Old business, why don't we start with the crime prevention activities?
If I can, what we did is everybody knows we've been working on some different crime prevention issues. I have Cap DeCilio and Bill Shafford here tonight. Bill was here at the last meeting, as we know. Captain was on vacation. Just to give an overview of a quick update on some of these different issues and where we stand in them. As you know, it's a work in progress. There's Paul.
I believe he's still in there.
Paul still has an arrest in Troy.
He's still-
Trying to do
yeah.
the arrest.
Okay, why don't we do him later? Why don't we,
Okay, skip to, if you can then, sorry, Commissioner, skip to B, Town Attorney Research. As you requested, we have information from the town's current attorneys and information from the two current attorneys the commission uses,
yeah, I read that.
and some different information, so.
yeah, like another big book.
I didn't see one from Jim.
Yeah, it was in your packet.
Yes.
It was just like 4 or 5 pages.
Oh, okay.
So you have that information now to do whatever you'd like to do with it.
And I believe you wanted a comparative with regard to what is it you'd like to do now with regard to this?
Comparative.
I believe at the last commission meeting, there was a question about doing some kind of a comparative between both fees. Is that your question?
That was, and when we got it, we have listing from both.
Okay, what is it we'd like to do now, though?
Want to switch, or do you not want to switch?
And that's what I'm asking you. Originally, like I said,
That
Carol
was part of the,
Granfield sent me the information with regard to the town's attorney, and she also sent the schedule of fees of what they were charging and what not, and what they would do, and what they wouldn't do, and when they could not do legal work for us. And then, like I say, there were questions asked, and I think we vetted out all the questions, so I guess I don't know where to go from here.
Frankly, I haven't read all the She and Finney's proposal and what have you, so, and had a chance to compare it to Agent O's or whatever the name was, so, I'd like to postpone it.
Okay, can we do this? I don't want to continually, keep on putting these same things on the, can we put it on with a date certain that we're going to have to make some kind of decision?
Yep.
Do you have the date for the next meeting? I know, it's not. The 13th, I believe, is
See, March 16th, will be the next meeting.
okay, March 16th, okay?
Okay.
That's the date certain that we're going to have to make a decision.
But also, in the stuff I left on your table for you tonight, I put some stuff that came from Black's Law Dictionary.
Yes, I see it.
If you, that is to go with the attorney research. some issues that we've talked about, and so if you add that into that packet, look at that, and then you can give me a call if you have any questions about what I meant by that, and then for the next meeting, then you should be ready.
Okay,
Reviewing
okay.
everything to make the next decision.
Thank
decision
you.
on that.
Moving right along, exit interviews.
Yeah, excellent interview, because you remember the commission had asked about survey about what some other communities were doing.
Yes, and you have that in
We
the-
provided that to you. So the commission's pleasure on what you may or may not want to do to move forward. We talked last time about different things you have to think about on moving forward. And now you have the survey, and that tells you whatever it tells you, so.
Tell you much.
What's your pleasure?
I think the issue with, again, was just whether, who did them or not, that's why it's that brief.
Survey is 5 no's, 8 yeses, and 1 if requested, so they're all over the place.
Mhm.
So,
Well, you know, I don't think it's a bad thing to do.
No reason.
And as was explained to me by Diane Whalen, that as long as you're consistent in your approach, that you sit down, the panel sits down, and they take information, they gather information, and that the information that they get, they just don't stick it someplace and leave it, that they do something with it, and they do some research on their own. And you know, the other thing is that I think is important is the type of panel that you put together. Should we consider people other than people that are part of the PD to be part of this panel? That way there, they could be considered independent or non-biased or whatever you want to call it. You know, is that a consideration for you?
well, I noticed Derry, nobody from the department sat in. Was there another one? Manchester says Human Resources.
Well, most of it's done by
Human Resources, that's right.
Which is probably the place it should be.
Allenstown Town Administrator does it.
But Allenstown, you're talking about a very, very small department.
Why couldn't Human Resources do it?
Do you want to explore, do you want me to explore that?
That would be a good idea.
I can speak to Carol Granville.
That way they have no knowledge, and it should just be taking in information at that point, so. There's no
Would you
leading
consider it an
questions.
independent body?
There's no leading questions. To get information, it's whatever's given. That would be,
We already use the same form as the town.
right, we're already using their form, so now you have somebody that has no knowledge of anything, so they can't be biased. You
Like
gotta have
Kevin
somebody
said,
do it.
you would have to though decide what your next steps are going to be though. Once that, if that person does them, where do they turn those into,
Well,
and what are you going to do with them? Because
I
you're
think
gonna
the
have-
commission needs to get them and needs to review them, and then the decision's made there of
That's
what
fine,
to
as
do
long
with
as
them.
everybody just needs to know what the procedure's going to
You
be.
agree?
I don't, you know, I think, yeah, it should be independent.
All right.
So I can certainly speak with Carol
Yeah.
Grantfield and use our form.
Yeah, we use the same form as town anyway,
Right.
nothing special.
In the same 2 weeks after, or 2 weeks prior to,
Yeah, the same.
They're
yeah,
leaving?
Yeah, just what you had before.
Yeah, it should be prior.
okay, I will do that then. Meeting's not going to be on the next agenda, hallelujah. Okay, the next item is mobile computer.
Yeah, just wanted Captain Daly to give a quick update on where we're at with that.
The only outstanding issue with regards to that was hearing back from town administrator
Yes,
in reference to if they had any idea that any of those funds would need to be used for any other purpose. And her response to me was she did not see any reason why we couldn't go forward with this project, that they didn't have any other use for that at this time that she was aware of.
Okay. I guess this should be an action item, huh? We need a motion to go forward?
Yeah, what you would have to do is vote that the commission wants to send the request to the council to release
The funds?
the funds from the impact fees for the purpose. We'll get all the paperwork that we have from Bart and whatever together. And then we'll send that with a letter, either draft the letter for you to sign, we'll go to the council with all the paperwork, so then Carol will be able to distribute to the council and they get on their agendas.
Make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So it's the understanding that this motion will allow us to go in front of the town council to make that request because they're going to have to be the ones to vote on it. Is that correct? Okay. Everyone understands that? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, seeing none. Graffiti Town Council, I see he's not here this evening. Do you have any update on that?
Yes, the town is actually, tomorrow night, they're having a public hearing of the council on the draft ordinance that was in your packet. We did have our prosecutor review this to make sure that it is an enforceable ordinance. She's reviewed that, she has had contact with Carol. I think just one quick suggestion, but otherwise the department, from a prosecution point of view, is all set with it. And that information is going to relate to Carol, and then ultimately will go to the town council tomorrow night, and they'll have their public hearing. So if they vote tomorrow night, we'll have a graffiti.
So are they having the public hearing the same night, or are they just taking
I think so.
input?
No, I think they're having it tomorrow night. My understanding was they were having it tomorrow night.
So do you need a motion from us to,
I don't think so.
okay.
No, the
nothing.
issue with, the only issue on the town's end, of course, will be, follow through. I mean, it'll be great to have the ordinance, we'll have an ordinance that
Right,
also is
something in place.
enforceable in place.
Yes, right.
The next step, how the town's going to address it, though, is obviously, as we talked with Councilor Lozelle, is obviously up to the town.
Okay,
But from our end, we have reviewed, we brought up the issue of having an ordinance, the town that's brought it forward, we reviewed it.
okay,
So
good.
whatever the council does with it tomorrow night.
Okay, after emergency communications code red.
Yeah, as you know, the commission did vote to be part of this. The town did go ahead with this. The only information I wanted to share with you was the administrator's original letter on January 13th talked about the different departments would share in the total cost. And it was estimated at that time that the total cost would be $1,900, which would be our share. The town did go ahead, as we all know, and did the project. When the costs were broken out, our share actually came to $2,047.50. So instead of the $1,900, it's $2,047.50, and I approved that amount, and that's coming out of our account for community services. So we are
That's
part
the
of it.
line, that's
Yes.
the line item it's coming out of.
Yes, so we are part of it, as we said we would be. I just wanted the commission to know that the dollars were a little bit more than what the original. We have, some of our staff members have already gone to training on the program, and then we're working more, I think I got an email today from the fire department of what the form will be to get, to actually utilize it.
So when does it actually go into effect?
It's actually online now. They used it to put out the information about the H1N1 clinic that.
I saw that, but the night that we had that power failure, I tried to get on it and I wasn't able to.
I know Carol's rushing to get it on to try it with the H1N1, and I know the staff has had some training on it. So it is up and running. The next thing now is, with the staff having been trained, is to we're working on putting the procedure in each department. If somebody has something to go on to it, how to do it.
Because I clicked that day and I wasn't able to.
So that is still a work in progress, but we're at least up to speed as far as payment on our end and our share and training at the command staff level, which will obviously filter down.
Okay, thank you. G?
Yeah, last meeting we talked about the intersection of Route 3 and Benton Road. In your packet I put an email from the town planner who spoke with Don Lyford at DOT concerning the project, and he gave information on the project. Let's see. It looks like they're going to be working on bypass 28, Bellbrook culvert drainage project is going to be from bypass 28 to Benton Road. It's going to be advertised this March, and construction is going to start this summer. Bypass 28 at some point is going to have a detour through Kmart. but two-way traffic will continue. As far as the road widening, which is I think the biggest issue we talked about, or the major part of last meeting, February of 2011, the town, or the state, I should say, is going to advertise, and they expect construction to begin spring, going to summer of 2011.
Yeah, is that gonna be like the 10-year plan on Hudson Road that took 20?
I don't know, that's the information we have from
But I
DOT.
thought the short version was we wanted an arrow.
Yes, well, and to follow up, the chair and I
We
had.
spoke about it today,
we-
it's funny, it
We had a
came
meeting
up.
with the planning board today, reference
To Cinemax.
some other issues,
Yeah.
Cinemax and some other issues. And one of the things that we were able to, meeting with the planner while we were there, was to talk about the sign. She had talked to the state, there is the possibility of them putting up some other or more visible signage than currently exists. And so our offer was that, you know, we're not engineers, but we think if the state could put up something more than is out there now, at least until the project gets done, that would be a help. And there was a representative from DOT there, so we made, if you will, the request that they do whatever they could.
Although he did caution us that those signs are very expensive, so we'll see, but we did make
We did make the
known.
request to DOT as far as putting up whatever sign they could put up out there.
Did we request an arrow? A green arrow instead of a green light?
No, that is part of the information that we sent to them for the project when it's done. We were asking for something until the project is completed.
Yeah, but
Their answer is that the best thing that they could do for that location would be to put larger signage out there. They wouldn't change anything with the light, just larger signage.
really, just change the lens on that light to an arrow. We're gonna go into committee for that? I mean, it seems like a lot of work just for an arrow. There's plenty of signs there. Those of us who know it, there's tons of signs. I mean, it's the light, it's green, and it looks like you can go straight.
And that's
Well,
what
what was his comment today? I mean, we spoke about that.
Why don't we just put a meridian there like Manchester did on Elm Street? Now they're gonna dig them out because everybody's driving over them. I'm just not a loss, it's
Well,
a
I
green
think At this
arrow.
point, planning department and us have talked with DOT. We made a request today to at least
I
sign
think we gotta follow it up with a letter.
letter to DOT or to planning.
DOT.
I'm going to send, I'm going to draft a letter and to the,
Yeah.
Mr. Lightfoot.
I mean, that's the cheapest request, seeing they're telling us the signs are very expensive. I mean, they must have tons of those little.
Yeah, he said those signs were $100,000.
Huh?
That's what he said.
It was the ones costing on the highway that we use for stimulus funds.
I'm only telling you, I'm only the messenger, I mean, that's what he told me.
Yeah, we all learned that for the first time today.
Okay, but the green lenses can't be more than $5-6. So we're saving them, you know, $99,995.
I know, you were there, we had the
I'm
discussion.
only quoting you.
I know, I believe you, it just sounds ridiculous to me.
It was one of those interesting meetings.
Can we go paint the light, make an arrow ourselves?
Maybe.
Okay, we beat it to death, okay?
Okay,
New
Let's
business.
see. The next item on new business, I think, Sherry, you were going to give an update on the budget status.
Yes, we did our proposal to the budget committee. And we were supposed to come back on the 11th, and I think it was the 11th, wasn't it the 11th? Did I have the right date?
What's going to be the 18th?
And, but it had been, it was changed to the 18th to accommodate, because I wasn't going to be there. Could have sent one of you two, but they accommodated me, so I'm going back to the 18th. So I don't know where we stand right now.
Just, if I can, the information that the budget committee asked us for on the
We have it.
Saturday. We have that, we've been making copies, so we'll have, I know, one more report to make the copies of, and we'll have that passed out to the budget committee
Right.
Thursday night.
The only thing, I think there was some confusion about those sheets.
That Christine had to take care of.
Oh, it was Christine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Because I'd like to see those
Right.
before.
That Christine had to take
Because
care of.
I don't want to be talking about something that I
Right.
don't
No,
know what I'm
Christine-
talking about.
Christine explained that when the packets went out, they went out with the first numbers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then when the numbers changed, because remember not only the pay rates, but also because of the insurance numbers, when those changed, Finance put out another sheet, so the budget committee was sitting there that Saturday with two identical sheets with different numbers on them. That was the question that was asked. And remember Christine explained about the sheet, so she was supposed to take care of that, so that the budget committee members would have the latest numbers.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see those sheets. I'm going to have to, that's it.
You need contract ratification. Commission, you have to vote, whatever
Who
language.
has, Coach, do you have the language for the ratification
Yeah.
of the contract? And you need to make a motion
Yeah.
to that effect?
I make a motion to ratify with the changes to the existing contract effective July 1st, 2011. You know, the changes that were given to us, we've all seen them. You said we didn't have to adopt them. Motion to ratify with the changes to the existing contract effective July 1st, 2011.
Now tell me something.
That makes
Once-
sense to you?
Once we ratify, though, has Christine worked up the numbers and all that?
Staff here worked up the numbers with Christine. She has those numbers, and that's why you had to ratify tonight, so the council can look at it tomorrow night as a warrant article.
Okay, but you do have the numbers,
Oh, yeah, have the numbers, and the town already has them.
because the budget committee is also going to need,
Absolutely, and that's why you needed to ratify tonight. We both, the staff did our end of the numbers, Christine did her pile of numbers, put it all together, and so the town has it now, but for the council to discuss it tomorrow night as a finalized, if you will, warrant article, you needed to ratify it tonight.
oh, okay.
You all set, Francie?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion with regard to that? Okay. Call for a motion. All those in favor of ratifying the union contract signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none. It's been done.
Like when I was talking to the administrator today, I told her you would be talking about the ratification tonight. The council will be discussing it tomorrow night as another warrant article, and she asked if anybody from the commission was going to be there tomorrow night at the council in case there were any questions. I'm not sure what questions, if any questions would be asked,
Thank you.
what details can be given out.
I'll be there. Is there an agenda? Where is it on the agenda?
I think if you go online,
No,
you'll
I
see
can-
their
Okay.
All right,
agenda.
I'll be
So if it's okay, I'll call Carol, let her know that, because I'm
Which is
set
the
up
one.
that you'll be there for the ratification. Hiring process, ask Cap Daigle to give a quick update on where we are in the hiring process.
We had testing on February 6th. For that process, we received 75 resumes. 47 people attended. Of the 47 that attended and took the written examination and physical agility, 25 people passed both the written test and the physical agility out of the 47 that were in attendance. Oral boards have been set for next week. In that mix, we have 4 certified officers that have been invited to interviews with us. With those other people that had passed the testing. And next Friday, we have the last candidate from the last group. We had 2 that weren't any longer in the mix. We're no longer in the mix. We have 1 that still is. He's having his polygraph exam next Friday.
Final step, correct?
Yes.
Good.
You know what would be good to know, one of those facts is good to know, how much from start to finish does a process like that cost us?
We actually have that. The budget
You do?
committee asked for that.
Oh, okay, they
So the
did.
packet, when we get this information, the same information the budget committee gets, I'll have a packet for all of you, so we have that. Because remember that was the question we discussed
Yeah,
with
I
the budget
thought so.
committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Accreditation.
Quick thing on this accreditation, you had asked for some research, had Lieutenant McDaniels do the research. That was in the packet as far as cost, requirements. So you know how the research, I don't know if you had a chance to read through it.
I did read through it.
I skimmed through it, I didn't have a chance to read it all.
I did read through it. I guess my question is, I didn't know there, it kind of contradicts one statement against the other. One statement, it says that really there isn't any cost, that the only cost is for the banquet after the fact, and then it goes down to say, then the applications and this costs this much and that much.
Where you talking on the front page?
Yeah,
Where it says, then there's two things. The first page of the lieutenant's letter talks about state accreditation program.
yeah.
They just started up again. That's different than the national accreditation.
Oh, is that why? Okay.
What happened is, because the state is so small, there are many departments that there's no way, either through funding or through size, we're going to meet national accreditation. So the state, for a number of years, had a state accreditation. They stopped doing it. They've now just started it up again, as this letter talks about. And if you meet this, you basically state accreditation. It's called State Accreditation Recognition Program. So it's something. It's not the national accreditation, though. That's where the big money comes in.
Right.
So
Yeah, so there's no cost with the state accreditation, but if you go through this CALEA, it costs you in between the cheapest being paid in one lump sum, would cost $84,000 to $16,075.
It's expensive, and there's an annual fee after that. One thing to remember is on page 2 is staff time that goes into doing the work.
Right.
So even if you did the state, which is something we looked at before, Dave, at least I think will remember, we talked about looking at the state program, and then the state was changing their recognition program, then they dropped their program of doing that. But there is still staff time to do that. The national, that's where you not only need the staff time, but that's where you also need all these fees for them.
Does the state one do anything
Like a nice night.
that overlaps the national one? I mean, something that if changes are made, goes forward, that we can use again?
I believe it does, and
It's
that's
just
why we talked
I mean,
about it.
it's not apples and oranges completely.
State recognition takes almost 200 of the national standards as part of their recognition program, and we have to meet, or would have to meet those 200 standards. Okay, those 200 standards are then rolled over into a national accreditation, which are, I think there's like 470 or 480 standards with a department our size that they'd have to meet those 470 standards. But in those 470 are the 200 that the state would require us for the recognition.
And what's the cost of the state one?
The state is free.
Free. Here's
you still
the
have to-
difference. And it's 100 of the 480 of the national
It's
standard.
like 170 something, I think.
Yeah, it's based on, yeah.
But that one's free, other than administrative time.
Administrative time, and of course they have the assessors come in and look over the files and so forth to see that we've met the standards.
And if you may remember, we talked about doing this a few years ago, and then the state was in the process of changing their recognition program, then they stopped their recognition program. But our plan had always been to meet the state first, because of what you just said, and then because they were the same ones, then when money was available, if it became available, it was to transfer back into.
Why don't we do the state one? At least, if it's back up and running.
Back up and running, yeah.
I don't mean
Well,
at
that's
least, but to start with, I should say.
It's a start, it's a start.
And other than legwork cost, there's no real cost to the, it's not like an $8,000 bill, and it's a place to start. It's
Well, that's what we explained before, as you may remember.
And as Lieutenant McDaniels just said, if you do the 100 or the 200, like he said, that later on, if you should decide to go for
Right,
the
those are
national one,
yes.
you already have those done that apply for the national organization. Is that true?
That is correct, yes.
Just make it easier at that point.
If you go back 2 or 3 years, maybe 3 years, whatever, in the minutes, you'll find that we've had this discussion before, and that was the plan back then.
That's the only difference with the state is just the banquet that you have afterwards.
We should, but yeah, I'd like to see us move forward with the state one.
Well, I think it's a good first step. I guess I would just be a little more curious as to what else is involved in the state one, because I have questions whether or not it's going to give us what we want to get, what we're looking for. Okay, and, well, I'm not quite sure because I don't know if it helps you with, say, what your organization should look like staff-wise, whether or not it, you know, is an audit of, you know, of sorts.
The National Accreditation Council and the state are pretty much married together with this
Right.
program. So it's acceptable to the national program for the state to show this recognition. And it basically is set up for smaller agencies to have a means of showing that they're moving in the right direction to meet national standards. And the 200 or 170, I don't remember the exact number, but it's around 200 that we'd have to meet, would show that we're making progress and showing that we're moving to national standards. And it recognizes your efforts in that regard. You're almost halfway there, basically.
Right, but I guess the other thing that I'm looking for is that we have no way of knowing, or at least I don't, maybe you guys all do, and I'm the only one that's not up on that, any way of judging or somewhere that says, say, if you have a community of this size, what are the standards as far as, say, ratio police to, you know, population? Then you look at administration. What is the ratio that you should have? Is there any kind of audit that you go through when you're doing that process, you know, that says that, besides all the other things that you have to have in place?
I follow what you're saying, and I'm in the process of communicating with Police Standard and Training to get their updated version of this
Well, maybe once we get that, that'll
When I
help.
get that, we could probably give you some more specifics on that. But the standards for agencies our size, I mean, this is looked at through national committees, you know, all over the country, that basically say an agency this size should operate, you know, with these standards. And it deals with management, it deals with, you know, police service, it deals with all aspects of it. And where we have a cell area, it deals with standards on how we deal with prisoners and how we transport prisoners. And so every
deals with
area
the
of
whole
our
thing.
agency would be broken down into certain standards for each component of our agency that we have to meet by
Okay.
an agency our size.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
that was going to be included in it, because I think
Yeah.
that's a question that's
Well,
so
once-
often asked.
Unfortunately, the gentleman who's in charge of it up at Police Standards is part-time up there. And he called me while I was away on vacation last week, and I made another call to him today and left a message. So hopefully I'll be able to touch base with him this week, and I'll get that. He has it for me, I just have to go and meet him and get that from him, so he can at least give us the information you need to
Okay.
read up on a little bit more.
I guess I would ask that you would
Yeah.
come back with that. I
Yes.
certainly would appreciate it. I don't know how other commissioners feel. Does that work for you?
If I can, just two final things on this. Number one, I'd like to meet with the chair separately to give you an update on some of the issues that related to the accreditation process prior to my becoming chief that we had to deal with. Pieces we had to pick up when I came here. Accreditation was over when I came here. But
You mean the state one?
No, the national one was over when I came here and had not been chief. Finally achieved being a chief, so I'd like to fill you in on that so that you have that background. And the second thing, just for the record, if you look back a number of years, you will see that we were at this point again with the state program before the states changed and then stopped their program. So
Okay.
just for the record.
Okay, so we will have it on the upcoming agenda.
Yeah, we'll put it back on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay. I see that Captain Cecilio has come back into the room. Thank you for coming back. We did set aside for a while the crime prevention activities. If you would, bring us up to date.
Apologize for being late, Commissioner.
No, that's fine. We knew where you were.
Department website, I spoke with Davis on Sunday. He told me that I should have something new to look at today. I went to the site. There wasn't anything new to look at. Our target date is still on target
Which
for
is?
next month. At the next commission meeting, I'm hoping he can be here to present what he did as the
Okay.
volunteer. We do need to appropriate some monies for installing it on an outside street.
Yeah, wasn't that, what was that, 99?
No, that's
That was this letter that was on your table.
It's 60-something.
$69.93
Yeah.
to lock up the Dominion names and
Oh, yes,
for
that's
1
right.
year of using their server. I spoke with the new person that the town's hired. He has also recommended this, as well as Ben Davis. The reason being is because then the company, which is 1&1, is responsible for the security of the site, which would mean that we would not have to incur those costs. If it goes down, if it is hacked, it's their responsibility to get it back up running, and their firewall and everything else is more advanced than what we could purchase right off the top for that kind of money.
So you need a motion from us this evening to approve that? Do you need a motion?
No, I don't think so. I think we just wanted to give you an update on where we were.
Yes.
You know, we said we would go ahead with the department website, and I just wanted the captain to give everybody an update on what, you know, when we had the gentleman whose time was offered, we met with him, he had that update, and now just further along where we are.
So everybody's in agreement with that, though? That that's something we should do?
So that's what I'd say, is just that we're going to continue on with the...
Okay, so we're going to get that then.
Wanted to give you an update on the...
Well, he's got Twitter.
Where that
Twitter.
was good.
Okay, for Twitter and Facebook, in your last two packets, and when I wasn't here, I had forwarded you information on what's going on with the Facebook page and what's going on with Twitter. As I was advised, we've put everything on hold. I need to know what you would like me to do with the Facebook page and Twitter account, if we're going to maintain that or if we're going to close it.
Between the website and that, what's that other thing we just joined?
Code Red.
Code Red, I don't think we
Do
need
we,
to have.
do we
should
need
have-
those?
Well, no, I think that's a discussion that we wanted to have, in that, you know...
We had that discussion and we
Right.
thought we'd bring it back
Right,
to
no,
the
but, right, but when we looked
commissioners.
at the others, that was a good way to go, but when you look at what the Code 1 or the Code Red does, I think that takes
That's
care
no
of
need
both
of it.
and more, so, yeah, to be honest with you, I think that was at least...
With more security.
Right,
When I
and
talked to
that's,
the chair, that was, that the Code Red that the town has gone into, which we're part of, is probably a better thing, better than the Twitter and the Facebook we had. So instead of us putting, my suggestion would be, instead of us putting any more time into those two, that we don't, and we spend our time finishing up getting the website and finish up the in-house training on the Code Red. So use that.
I
So-
think we ought to take down the whole thing. Those,
Do you want me to cancel both accounts?
I don't know how other board members feel like the
That's what we
chiefs.
recommend.
That's what I
so
agree.
It's up to you. Just
Do
make
you
sure
agree?
everybody's on the same page.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Hear that. The Bright Arrow, that was the program, the SAU.
You was using,
Yeah, I had the captain just take a look at that, just to see.
I went and met with the school on Bright
Yeah.
Arrow. Bright Arrow is an excellent program for what the school uses it for. They're fee-based on per student. However, their database that they use is what the school has, which is reported to them. So it's the parents and the phone numbers and everything from the students. Whereas when I went to Code Red, their database is a commercial and civilian database for the entire town, not just the database of
Right.
Bright Arrow. If we used Bright Arrow, the only database that we would be able to tap into without paying any money would be ours, and we don't want to call all our companies. So the Code Red definitely seemed like a better system for us, even though that is an excellent system for the school and it suits their
Right.
purpose.
Well, it was specifically tailored for them and their needs.
Correct.
But we want to know, we did the research. and
Right,
we
yeah,
asked
well, we
into it, and
did,
it
yeah,
is-
because it
is
was
good
brought
for-
up
yeah.
as a way of, yeah.
Neighborhood Crime Watch program.
The Neighborhood Watch, Bill talked last meeting, we're still looking for more volunteers. If I'm right, Bill, we have 7, right? 7 people at this time that have signed up for the Neighborhood Watch. We're still moving forward with that.
When are you having your workshop or your thing?
I was hoping to talk to Bill before the meeting tonight, but I got sidelined with the
Oh,
arrest and
okay, okay,
everything.
but you're going to be setting that up, huh?
I
Are you
would-
doing it at the library, or is that what you're going to do?
Just to meet and greet everybody that Bill has the 7.
Yeah.
We plan on probably getting that done. Bill has a training class next week, the 26th, I believe. He's going down to Massachusetts to see what one of their neighborhood watches has done. He's also made several contacts with New Hampshire communities to get information from them. However, since the last meeting, we're still waiting for a lot of people to get back to us with what they're doing. So Bill has a lot of information that he's going to compile, and then we'll get back to you. But we're moving forward, if more people can sign up, want to get involved, I said the more the merrier at this point.
If I might add, I believe I see someone from the press here, that they put that in one of their articles, that if people are interested, that they should contact either Captain Cecilio or Bill Jackford.
already too.
Yeah,
We still only have 7
That's-
people.
Yeah. Is there any way you could do a follow-up and just, another
I see.
if you can? I know you did one, if you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
You can put something else out there.
But perhaps it's off some people's radar screen, or they were not able to be at that meeting to know, what was discussed, and that, there is that ability to hook up with both Bill and Paul Cecilio, certainly would help them. I appreciate that.
So that's where we're at with that program. Crime report mapping,
the crime report mapping is, I had forwarded some to the commission on December 22nd. And at that time, it was tabled. It is something that we were thinking about putting as part of the website. Like I said, Microsystems is $995 if we want to do it, and then the cost of the program and the upkeep is $99 a month for $990 for the first year, with 2 months being free.
Can we just get the website up and running?
I think
and then
we
work on it as fast as I
we got
can.
too many.
No, that's not what I'm saying. And then worry about expanding on it.
That's fine.
We got too
Let's
many
do one
balls
step
in
at a
the air,
time.
and
that's actually our recommendation.
Let's
but
get
we want
this
to give you
code
one-
red,
right, we want to
the
give you an update.
website going, and then if you want to expand on it, once we have all the figures and
Yeah.
how
That's
it's
fine.
going to work,
Let's
that's
see.
fine. You don't even
That's our
have a base unit right now.
Okay, items for the next agenda. I believe there were a couple of things. I believe we asked that the town attorney research come back because we needed to have, we wanted a date certain. It's March 16th is the date certain that we have to decide by. I am going to speak to Carol about the exit interview to see if we can have human resources do it. I think the graffiti is only going to be, I'm just going to report back on, what the public hearing got. What about the mobile computers?
Yeah, I'll have a letter for you.
Okay.
We'll work on the letter.
We don't have to have the emergency communication code read.
No, it's wrong.
And the only other thing is we're going to write a letter with regard to the Route 3 Benton Road about the light. We're going to report back on the budget status. We're also going to have the accreditation because Les is going to come back and give us that update. And I think that's it.
Probably want to have Captain just give us an update on the items from crime prevention that we are moving forward with, which is the website.
Okay.
And basically the website, the neighborhood crime watch, and then you're able to gather the information about crime watch.
Okay.
Just keep it going with updates on those fronts.
Okay. I guess that, first of all, since Dave is going to have to be leaving right away, we're not going to entertain, if that's okay, we're not going to entertain another public input this evening. People need to get home, and I need to get them home safely.
May I ask a question, Chair? I was going to ask about my 2 complaints that I asked about at the last meeting. That
Oh, yes, okay, I'm glad that your letter will be forthcoming. Okay, we did finally make a decision, and your letter will be forthcoming,
Thank you.
okay?
It's not even a public input, really. I wanted to make you aware, as a part of the exit interview process, I suppose I could have raised my hand earlier. Just for your, I spoke with Liz Dion today. I went to go meet her, so that I could have a little more information on my end before I approached the commission tonight. based on my conversation with her, she is in agreement with you, and she wanted me to pass that along, but that she is happy to do these exit interviews with you, with any panel, or by herself. And everything that I had mentioned in the last 2 public inputs, she agreed with. So I suggested that you talk to her, or she call you, and she's right all behind it. She's perfectly fine with everything.
Okay, thank you.
I won't be able to attend next month's meeting. There's one thing I want to address, if I could just pass this on to you as a point of information, okay? We've already discussed this issue. These are the minutes from 12/17 that you haven't published yet, and I transcribed those minutes for you regarding the issue.
The meeting was 12:15.
12:15?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. Well, Mr. Sorrello's here. I also want to say again that I'm not a budget member speaking right now. Thank you.
So you want to, what do you want?
Okay, the conversation I spoke to you earlier about this, the minutes of 12:15 did not have anything in it regarding the conversation the 2 people had regarding
They do now.
using personnel
They
files.
do now, let me assure you.
So as a result of that, I actually typed up and transcribed parts of the minutes involving. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'll call for a motion.
Motion